So that was Will Smith. You heard there. It's a whole lot of story around it. It's generated a lot of conversation everywhere. But ultimately, on Home Affairs, we're asking, is it your responsibility to make your partner happy? And when we argued and we debated this in the office here, it's a colleague of mine who insisted that, listen, it is your responsibility as a spouse to make your partner happy. The wife is responsible for your happiness and you are responsible for their happiness. And then the conversation went on and on. In fact, I made a statement. Probably was a very loose statement, but was it? Off air, Ariel, I said, she continued the statement for me. I said that if you don't take care, you will die trying. Ariel, like, what did you say?
And the wife will also die waiting for it.
All right. So we're getting into that conversation now. Welcome aboard. PG Sebastian, I miss you.
Oh, ain't that sweet? I miss you too.
How many years has it been? After June,
yeah.
We had the father-daughter conversations, and then he vanished. Okay, Mama T, you too.
Good morning.
I heard you on Strong and Sassy. Yes. When I was listening, I said, okay, but it's okay. Ariel, you were on that show too.
Yes, I was.
Okay, so Ariel hasn't rested. We gave her a break just last week, but for the past 5 weeks, she has been on the show because she has a world of information to share. We're talking about teenagers, and she has teenagers, so she had to be on the show for us to talk. And then we have switched, and she's here too. So Ariel is a wellness coach. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Mama T, Mrs. Teresa Riafe Asante, she is an Osofumami with swag.
You know.
She is a realist when it comes to family life. And I can tell you that she will not come and wrap the issues around scripture. Yeah, she is a Bible-believing Christian, but like I said, she is a realist. She says them as it is, and it is always a pleasure to have her here. And PG is a relationship coach, and so I have the right people with me in the studio to ask or to look at this issue. Simply, am I responsible for Elliot Knight-Tey's happiness? And is he responsible for mine? Like you're asking, are we responsible for our partner's happiness? Do we have to take full responsibility and ensure that our partners are utterly happy? PG.
Well, so I think that it's happiness in any relationship or marriage is a mutually reinforcing thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's a primary level of happiness which should come from you. First, you need to know yourself, to know what excites you, what makes you happy. Whether it's in areas of achievement, whether it's in areas of recreation, whether it's in areas of, self-actualization, whichever way it is, or whatever it is. First and foremost, you need to make your own definitions and you need to walk through that path. You need to come to a place of saying that, as for me, when it comes to Fridays, I like to chill with a book, glass of wine or glass of juice or glass of whatever, and then, just have a good time in bed. That makes me happy. Somebody will say, as for me, anytime I get the next qualification, that makes me happy. Somebody will say, anytime I do this or I do that, I go for my morning run or something, that makes me happy. People have different things, or people should, as a person, have different things that excite them. So that's the primary one. It should come from within. It should be something you've already defined. That actually should even inform you on who to choose as a life partner. Because if you make the wrong choice, then basically it's just going to be like two people. One likes to listen to English radio, another person likes to listen to local radio. So whenever they sit in a car, nobody listens to radio. Because
there's no compromise.
Exactly. So you understand? So it's as little as that, and then it grows. The secondary level is the happiness that, because you have defined your own happiness and you understand what it is and you're looking for it, you find it in another person because you realize that they sort of augment your basic happiness. So the Bible says, forgive me, it just so happened that you just talked about the fact that she's not going to do Bible, but let me throw in. The Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes that, and two are better than one.
Of course.
says that they shall receive a better reward for their labor, which means that one person can't receive a reward, but another person comes to augment that reward.
Yeah.
Says that one shall chase 1,000, two shall chase 10,000. So one person on your own, you have the ability to chase 1,000. The second person comes in to double or makes it 10 times what you can do. So when your partner comes into the picture, they are supposed to bring in another level of happiness. However, if you are not even chasing 1,000, when your partner comes, he's basically come to chase 1,000, because then it becomes one effort, not two effort. If you lie and you are not warm, your partner can so much as do what they can, but they can't give you eternal and perpetual warmth.
Great.
The same way, if you are not a happy person, your partner can never make you a happy person. And the other side of it is that you can be super happy and bubbly butterfly. Then after 10 years in marriage, we see you when you are clipped, your wings are clipped, you look so sad, and you realize that our born Benny. Now, we knew you, bubbly young man, bubbly young lady. What happened to all of you? What happened to all of that? Then you get to find that the man or the woman, whether intentionally or unintentionally, or because of their own self-pity, they've put in measures that sort of restrict you on different levels. And it's easier said than the reality when we say that, oh, but try and happy yourself. Sometimes they prevent it. You want to go for that run or go to that gym to lose weight. No, I don't like gym instructors. Those guys.
There are some people who just hate to see you happy without them.
Yes. No, there is that bit, but there is also people who can't even appreciate who you are and the things that gives you excitement. So you want to have your Saturday chilling weekend. It gives you happiness, but they are also very creepy or very uptight, always achieving. No, there's no place for, like they say, sleep is for the weak. There's no place for that. So you realize that even though ordinarily within yourself you have the ability to be happy and you are doing all that you can, there is somebody who, for the purposes of the institution you are in, you can't just get up and disrespect and disregard their needs or their opinion. So then sometimes you need to, step back a little bit, and before you know, you're a very sad person. So it's a mutually reinforcing, and then it can be funny along the line. Yeah.
Okay, so while you were talking, I was just trying to. So the assertion, I shared with us that says that a happy relationship starts with two happy individuals, and so when the two of you are happy, you're confident on your own, and you come together, then you're able to share that vibe properly.
Right.
But from the conversation we are having, we'll come to that later, but it could also sound like seeking after my own happiness and trying to be as individual as I can be, even though I am married, makes me a selfish person. Makes it come across like I am not thinking about the other person, and all I am thinking about is my happiness, and if for instance, so if I, like the example you gave, Friday night I want to go out and chill, there's weekend warmer, and so I want to follow DJ Black and go and chill a little bit, and that's what makes me happy. That's what will make me ultimately come back home, and then radiate that happiness for you to also realize that, look, our home can be bubbly and all that, and the other person feels like, okay, Friday night is for all night.
Thank you.
Like you were saying, Friday night is for all night, and when I go for all night and I am able to pray for you, pray for the family, pray for everybody, and then I come back home, then I feel fulfilled. Must we be allowed to do these, or should we at some point in time find common grounds where you will come to the party with me or I come to the prayer with you? I'll come back. But Ariel, let me skip Mama T and come to you. Happiness and me or someone being responsible for their partner's happiness, is it something we should even be working at?
Yes, it is something we work at. And
work at your partner's happiness.
What's your happiness?
We're talking about your partner.
Your partner's happiness. Okay, so let's start from the premise, what is happiness?
Okay.
And happiness or being fulfilled, that is what happiness is, has to do a lot about what you are engaging in your life.
Okay.
How things are going in your life. So if you want to be responsible for someone else's happiness, it means you have to take care of every bit of their life. And how can you know what is going to fulfill somebody else and do everything and stand in a particular way, walk in a particular way, talk in a particular way, do every little thing that will meet their need. It is totally impossible. And this happy word is the most important word for me, why I ended up becoming a wellness coach. And I always say Heroes Coaching, happy people living, because I was searching for that happiness in a relationship, just like everybody else. And it goes way back to the way we were brought up. It goes way back to our psychological wiring. It goes way back to the mindset and the conditionings we have about ourselves. And so when we come into relationship, we have needs and we want the other person to meet those needs for us. And so we are there waiting for them to become something, care for me, do this for me. But everything you are asking your partner to be for you, it means you haven't been for yourself.
So that's simple.
If you're asking them to care for you, it means you're not caring for yourself. If you're asking them to respect you, it means you don't have self-respect yourself. If you're asking them to make you feel worthy and validate you, it means you don't have it yourself.
Ariel, doesn't that sound so blanket? Because I could have all the self-respect and this person is just wired to be disrespectful.
So if they are wired to be disrespectful, you will know what you do to trigger their disrespect and create boundaries.
Great.
Now, boundaries is something you enforce.
Yeah.
You lift up a boundary
That
and
I
you
so
keep
believe
yourself, you keep yourself not to go there and upset the person in that way to disrespect you.
Perfect.
So if you know that this person is wired to disrespect, regardless of who I believe I am. And there are personality dysfunctions out there that truly, as PJ is saying, you know all the things you want to do to be happy, but they fault you.
True.
They find fault with everything
Very
you do.
true.
I mean, all kinds of things that really makes you unhappy. So what do? You create boundaries. So that you can be able to do some of the things that you want to do. And the happy thing about, life, if you put it on somebody else, it means you're saying, I'm irresponsible. I can't be responsible for myself. Somebody else should be responsible for me. And you're saying that I don't care about my health. I don't care about my emotional well-being, my occupations, my children, my social life, my physical well-being. You are totally saying, I don't care about it. Somebody else should take care of all that for me. And it is not possible.
Especially if those are the things that will ultimately make you happy.
And that is what will make you happy. And you should find the need you have in all these areas and make that effort to meet them.
Great.
Now, there needs to be conversation as a couple, understanding the scenario you were given. Let me just touch on that. So you want to have your Friday warm up. He wants to do all night. What are the
that is not my situation.
What are the conversations you as a partner have had? What are your values? So these are things that should be understood already. It's not that you've gotten married and now you're struggling with some of these things.
Yeah.
So if you start a relationship and these foundations are not built, your values are not understood, you don't know what you like, he doesn't know what you like. So when you come, this person say you do this, then there's not going to be a moving forward.
Great.
And then you put the blame on people, and blame is prison. If you're blaming people, you are in prison forever and ever and ever. As soon as you take self-responsibility, it's liberating.
True.
And you get freedom. And you can give yourself permission to do some of the things that really makes you fulfilled.
Thank you. Great. We came back to giving yourself permission. And from what Ariel is saying, especially so when you're starting a relationship, I think that one of the reasons people end up not having these conversations about who they are as individuals and admitting it and probably enforcing it, because, see, no matter how you try to hide it, it will pop up, because that is who you truly are. You should be ready, especially so when it is not a marriage situation and you're now, getting to know the person. You should be ready to say that I will not continue with this. You should be ready at that point when you realize that this is who I am as an individual. Yes, I am willing to make compromises to an extent. But like PG said, and you reinforced, if you realize that they want to take away everything that makes you, that makes you an individual, that makes you happy, and fits you into a certain box that they have created. Okay, so this is his or her idea about who a man or a woman should be.
Exactly.
And because you're afraid of losing the relationship, you accept it.
It's only a matter of time.
Oh, it will come back to haunt you. So whilst you're at it, I'll just add that you should be ready to say that this is who I am, because these are the things we end up dealing with in marriage every single day. Mama T.
Right. So
you are not happy. And then you are not happy because he's
not happy.
Osofo is not making you happy, and you're always fighting.
It's a lie. So I thank you very much, Adam.
Mama T.
When Daniela told me about this topic, I was very happy and I was ready to come like on Thursday. Yeah,
It's a lie.
I have it's a conversation that is worth having in all areas of marriage. We have made, marriage is good. It is God's own thing. But we have made marriage the everything. We have made relationships the everything. So in our communities, if you are not married at 40, there's a huge tag placed on your head.
It's true, and it's sad.
And yes, placed on your head. If you're a man, you are irresponsible. If you're a woman, for whatever reason, too many things have been said. And so everybody wants to be married. And even at the point of courtship.
But it's not a bad thing, is it?
Oh, no,
Great.
At all. I want to be married again and again and again and again. As long as you understand what you are doing and you are with the people you have to be with. I have sat in a lot of mediation in the last 2 years, and I noticed that marriage or relationships should not take away anybody's individuality. Any relationship that seeks to stifle you of your individuality, please don't force, don't push. Right, so I have had a number of conversations in recent times, and the wife is saying, my husband doesn't make me happy. The husbands are saying, my wife is not making me happy. Girlfriends and boyfriends are still complaining about this same thing. And even children are complaining about their parents not making them happy. So what are we talking about? Every one of us we own our own happiness. And that is so, as part of my 40 questionnaire you have to answer. One of the third question is, are you a happy individual? You want to get married. So we are seated at premarital counseling. Then I'm asking you, are you a happy person? I received different answers. Somebody is saying, yes. The yeses, I have not received much. Somehow, I received a few. Others go out like, I have not been happy. I pray that this marriage will make me happy. And this person actually is coming with a lot of work because, and that is to come back to Ariel. That is why many of us have been wired growing up. You have to seek the other person's happiness as against yours. So you, as early as a child, have been made to believe that even looking at yourselves a lot of times or sometimes is selfishness. And so you don't want to be called selfish. And because you don't want to be called selfish, you want to work at the other person's happiness. But what is it that the other person is looking for that looks at happiness? So I am going to an all-night, and you are not going to all-night. If the person is not happy. And so because he's not happy, let's sit down. I am going to a recreational place because the person is not happy. That is where the prison thing comes in. And a lot of married couples feel deeply imprisoned because somebody is not happy. I have said again, if you're already not happy, you have no reason marrying anybody. You don't. Go home, go to Ariel, wellness coach.
And get well.
Yes, get well first. And your wellness...
You need it.
Yes, your wellness begins with you. Yeah. You see, we have not been taught to look at ourselves. But even the Bible is saying that first, love people the way you love yourself first. We have not been taught self-love. At all. Yeah. So you are dressing up like this, and somebody, last week I dressed my pal, and somebody asked me, are you the woman I saw on some place? And I said this, hey, are you this? You don't look like a girl. No, she said, you look like a girl. I said, what did you think? I am a 54-year-old girl. And she was like, 54? I said, yes. Wow. Nobody owns my happiness. I own everything. Everything
Mama
I
T,
do.
Please, you should get up.
Oh, you want me to do?
And do it. Oh my
what
God.
What she did for us, she did.
Right.
Wow.
you have to learn to take care of you. If you can't take care of you, you can't take care of anybody. And you don't, let's understand this truth. You don't owe anybody their happiness. First, the lax must be with you. The joy must be with you. The happiness that is inside of you must be made to come up. Then other people around you, they notice happiness and then they come along. That is why you are not happy, because your husband is saying something. What did he say, Paul? And you are like, hey, is that how he feels about me? Is that how you think about me? So I am doing everything. Somebody told me something. When I sit at mediation, sometimes it pie me, and I want to tell everybody, you own your happiness, especially sisters. You own your happiness. Me, I always talk for women. Men, you two, you are there. You can let PG talk for you. At this point, I am talking for sisters. So many beautiful ladies get married. They are even in ordinary relations. The man has not married them. And they are, yes, and they are beating them already. And they are saying that it is fine because he loves me. Please, it's not true. Whoever told you that is a huge lie. You are not taking care of yourself. And so let's go do this. My first ever travel in this life, these young ladies on the plane, they come and they are telling you what it is. I was watching her, sir, because I had not traveled out. And then one thing she said that really did not sit well with me. If you are on board with a child,
no, right?
and there's an emergency, take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 days. I was thinking about it, and I just told myself, I told myself, this thing, it's not true. Then I said, well, let me forgive her. She looks like a very young lady, so perhaps she doesn't have children. It's okay.
Or it's a written code that she has to read out.
The second day that I just thought out of this, I said, no, how true is it? I mean, what she said. You cannot give what you do not have. So if you do not have
oxygen,
yes,
how do you help the child
yes,
beside
and
you?
this
The
is
two
a
of you will
truth
perish.
we should start telling our young ladies, our young men, nobody owes you anything. Yes, it is beautiful when you have a husband or a wife who augments your happiness, but if they are not coming along, don't die because somebody must give you oxygen.
You know what I see? Because there are lots of things running through my head, and I see this conversation going into about 3 weeks. I'm saying that because, okay, everything we're saying is true. I remember, I think Ariel was on that conversation, PG was on it, and we talked about, you know, some of these things to the point where we had to talk about sex.
Sure.
And I remember that day I pushed the two of them to the wall. PG said certain things that he had never said on Home Affairs, but yeah, he had to answer the question. So, you know, that's an aspect of it that we will come to. We won't leap into that already, but yeah, I want to be happy, I want to be this, I want to be that. And then there is that sexual satisfaction that also comes with it. And I think that's what really Will Smith and his wife find themselves in. And I am supposed to be responsible for my happiness. Yeah? And then, as a Christian, I am not to have premarital, actually. Okay. You know, we're supposed to keep ourselves until we get married. And then we get married, and then I realize that this is not it. The things I fantasize about that would ultimately make me have that sexual happiness. And look, like it or leave it, pretend about it. It contributes a lot to I mean, especially so depending on how you're wired, you know. And if my partner is not meeting me there, how do I find that kind of happiness and fulfillment? That is how they are also wired. And we are saying that I am not supposed to leave my happiness in your hands. So for the woman, performing oral sex on you will not make me happy. So I will not do it. Doing this with me does not make you happy, and I want it. I will not do it. But when it comes to that one, it is not like go and sit at a restaurant and buy food to eat on your own if your partner doesn't want to go. Absolutely. It is not like go and have a drink or travel. You have to give it to me, and I have to give it to you. How do we work that out? But I will not leap into that just yet to be thinking about it. Right. Now, I got a lot of contributions yesterday when I shared the topic. And people had, there were lots of responses I got. There's one particular one. Okay, this one says that I believe one is responsible to the extent the partner allows. That is, you must do your best possible to ensure your happiness and create the needed environment
That's
for
true,
it.
sure.
However, you can't force it if your partner isn't a willing party.
Yep.
Again, I feel any attempt to make your partner happy must make you happy too.
Yes.
Isn't that selfishness?
Take that.
It must not be at the expense of your own sanity.
Yeah.
To that extent, I agree. Ultimately, I believe each person is responsible for 70% of factors that contribute to their own happiness, with their partner taking up the remaining 30%. And this is coming from Nana Benin. How would you analyze this? I am not responsible for your happiness, but am I responsible for creating the needed environment to make you happy?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You are supposed to
Yes.
create, which is what I said earlier, that there is always going to be an extent to which you can be self-motivated to be happy.
Okay.
Somebody can create, a partner can create a very murky situation for you. So take it, a typical example is a woman who, say, earns, let's say, 1,000 Ghana cedis a month or 1,500 Ghana cedis a month. We live in a city, let's say we're all in Accra, or we are in different parts of the urban centers. Cost of living is quite high. Okay, 1,500 may probably not take a 40-year-old woman through the week, through the month. So that means that you will need your husband to support you, as he is supposed to, because he married you. You know. So
And if he's also earning the same amount?
no, probably he's earning more. Probably the guy earns like 10,000. Now he would want you every time you need a penny to come to him. Open a book of explanation for him to show you his scratchy power.
Yeah.
And then after 1 week of begging and going broke and literally looking horrible, then he gives you the money. So you know who is the boss. But you see, you fail to see that within this period, it's a woman who needed that money for something else. And that means that it has to be on hold. Whatever it, if somebody's dying, the person may end up dying. If lives depend on it, that life will depend on it for a long time. You can't be happy in such a situation. It will get to you. And you see a married woman calling friends to ask for money. And your friends are asking, where is your husband? You find a married woman calling her family members for money. And the question is, where is your husband? How do you then say that, oh, as for me, I can be happy within, I can be happy, and then you are juggling all over the place, being happy. It's almost an impossibility. Again, one thing we also need to understand is the emotional construct of different individuals. Some people are extremely sensitive. No matter how self-motivated they are or how happy they can be from within, little things hurts them. And those ones, you can't psych them out of it, because that is how they are emotionally wired. And there are some people, they take things in their stride and they just move on. Even when they don't have anything, they say the joy of the Lord is my strength. They can do so many things. Even, some people can actually fast for 3 days if they are broke, because it is in them to fast. And for some people to Charlie, once they see thousands of this in their bank account, that is bad enough for them to get into a depression, because they think that, no, I've worked enough, I come from this family, I've seen good money before, why do I have just thousands of it? So different people perceive life differently, and we are not supposed to discount that. So there can be little things in your family circles that, regardless of how self-motivated you are to be happy, this can be a challenge. So if you even talked about the sex, you talked about children. Let's talk about children for example. Let's say you expect that your children will go to summer school, and this is like a family thing. It's a big thing, and you're excited. But you realize that, let's just say you married into that marriage with your children, so they know a certain kind of lifestyle. Then you're married to a man who think, no, that's a waste of money. Summer school, why are the kids supposed to learn 24 hours, January to December? No, let them stay home. Then so the kids will go to school. Their kids have, their friends or colleagues or classmates have gone to this place, they've traveled here, they've done this, and your children, these children who used to be the eye of the party, the most respected children in their class, now they are down to ground zero. As a mother, there's no way you are going to be there and be clapping, because you don't even have the ability, financial ability, to do what their their father used to do. So they are deep things. They are deep. These are not things that you just look on the face value. They are deep things. If you begin to pick issues in marriage one after the other, you realize that there is always an extent to which you can be happy.
So what I see is that this happiness thing is very individualistic.
Yes.
It
Yes.
is.
What's making one person happy
Maybe
will
what's
not
making-
make the
yeah.
other person
I
happy.
agree.
And so from everything I am hearing you say, we're taking a break shortly. From everything I am hearing you say so far, it looks like people themselves will have to begin to define their own happiness.
Absolutely.
You will have to define what makes you happy and begin to tick the boxes. That probably would be the 70% you're doing for yourself.
Yep.
Before you go expecting the
Somebody else to bring in something. yeah.
Okay. But when we come back, I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah. We've actually treated that whole topic here, and my director was just asking that, okay, we talked about being an individual. How are you an individual when the Bible says that the two shall become one and we have to look out for each other and be there for each other? Now you're preaching that I need to be an individual and not lose my individuality, even though I am married. How do you reconcile the two so that you don't end up putting yourself always ahead of your partner and the family? When we return from the break, we will get into answering those questions. So, how do I know what should make me happy? Because I think happiness should be very individualistic. What makes me happy will not make you happy. But I want to believe that when people are happy, they can feel it from within them. Okay, there's a friend of mine, David Edwafo.
That's our friend.
Yeah. See, you call this man, hi Dave, how is it? Usually I would say, it goes like, oh my darling, how are you? And I go like, well, I'm okay, I day inside. Ask him the same question. I'm good, I'm living the life. Like, so somewhere last week I asked him, don't you have a problem? Do you never have a
no go
problem?
finish.
Because every time you ask, how are you doing? I'm good, Adam. I'm
Yeah.
living the life.
Yeah.
I can't complain.
Yeah.
I'm well. I'm good.
Yeah.
And he will emphasize this. He will emphasize it. So I had to take time off to ask him. I was like, "We need problem, like." And then we talked,
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay." And then my boss too, Elvis Kwashi. Oh, Alpha, how are you? He would take his time and respond. I am super blessed. Wow. I'm like,
That's
okay,
beautiful.
I know, but you can see that regardless of everything that may be happening around these people, the positive confessions
That's
of
what it
these
is.
things
That's what it
like gives you some confidence and will not make whatever challenges. I mean, it doesn't make them put the challenges ahead. That's what I see. And so I told both of them last week that, okay, like I'm going to change the how are you, and go like, oh, I'm okay, I did. I'm going to change it and look for something more positive to say. I feel like, oh, when you tell somebody that I'm living the life, I'm good, they kind of feel, oh, and you don't want people to also think that
like
way of you. But is it a good thing to do? Ultimately, I'm trying to find out from us, how do you learn to be happy on your own and radiate it so that you don't end up expecting that thing from somebody else?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to say something about the selfishness thing because I've been lashed about teaching selfishness when I started teaching wellness and
Self-love.
self-care, because it has to be self-determined, self-directed, and self-motivated, and self-responsible. So you can't have all the well-being you want if you are not responsible for yourself. So I've been labeled as teaching selfishness. A lot of people call me and ask me, Olivia, if you talk about self-care, I think you're talking about me being selfish. And I ask, if somebody is asking you not to do what will make you happy or take care of your mental well-being or your physical well-being, is the other person also not being selfish? If they ask you not to do it for yourself, are they also not being selfish? And And when I ask that, now it becomes reflection for them. Just like Mama T was saying when she heard the announcement on the airline. In the case of an emergency, put on your oxygen mask first before attending to the next person beside you. Because if you don't have oxygen, you can't take care of them. And I've had people also say, pastors who have questioned if I am a Christian. I love God. I love Jesus. I'm a so devoted Christian. And I struggled to come and find out what being a Christian actually means. Understanding the love of God and accepting it and loving myself and being holistic in my life. That is what gave me the liberation I needed, the freedom to now have created this happy life I live, that I have so many problems, but they don't determine my happiness.
Absolutely.
So happiness is an inside job.
Yes.
It's an inside job.
Yes.
It's not an outside job.
Oh.
As much as it takes the things you do to get happy, the happiness is built with the resources you have created inside. What resources do you depend on? Do you have patience? Do you have love? Do you have kindness? Do you have understanding? Do you give these things for yourself? When you face a challenge, how do you treat it? That's how you treat other people. So if you don't get a bit selfish, you can't be there in the first place. So when we talk about self-love or self-care or well-being being selfish, it is not, because when you take care of yourself, you're not doing it at the detriment of somebody else. Rather, you are empowering yourself, improving yourself so you can take care of the people in your life, give your best version to them. So I've had to answer this question several times, just like the guy was asking. So you have to develop yourself to know yourself to be happy.
Great.
I thought I was a night out girl person. I thought I loved evening lifestyle when I was growing up. I used to be so miserable when I'm not out there, because when I was finished school, it was the clubbing time. People had to go out in the night. I thought that was what I should be doing as well. Until I developed myself and went through my, bad time to grow up and find myself, I realized I love going out daytime. Give me all day hanging out anywhere, I'll do it. I'm not an evening person. Evening, if I have to go for a musical program, a concert, but clubbing necessarily or being out there in the nights walking from is not me. But I used to cry. I used to be so depressed thinking that people are living the nightlife and I'm not living the nightlife. Personal development to let you know yourself.
Great.
If you don't develop yourself, if you don't invest in yourself, you will not know how to create your own life and be happy.
Sure.
That's where it starts from.
Great.
Develop yourself on all the areas of your life, emotionally, socially, intellectually, occupationally, and some of the things PJ was talking about. If you don't develop yourself to know even the dreams to go after and have your own small financial freedom, then your happiness is in it's left in someone's hands.
Great.
So a lot of times we don't look at our life holistically. A married woman who is not working, who can have 50 CDs, will not be fulfilled, because occupational well-being requires that you have endeavors, something you do that gives you some satisfaction, that you are also offering something to society.
Great.
So if you are not occupationally well, you can't be happy.
Sure. Yeah, some more.
It is in simple.
I got this one from Uncle Paul Bile. He says, yes, you are a team, and your actions and behavior in marriage contribute to his or her happiness. Yes, happiness is a choice we all have to make in life, but in marriage, there is joint responsibility to ensure happiness in the home. The absence of it, whether caused by internal or external factors, can be detrimental to the union. So it requires high levels of emotional intelligence to manage and promote happiness in the home.
Absolutely.
Sometimes there are couples who go out of their way, one partner, to just, I don't know if it is beautiful for them to see the other person unhappy. So they are doing everything to gag you. They are doing everything. You can't go to school. That's what I was going to say. There's this lady who feels now it is time to self-develop. Let me do
MBA or something.
No, she had not even had a first degree. So she goes for first degree. Husband said it's fine. Now she's going for an MBA, and the husband said, first it was fine kakra, because he thought he was going to be the one to finance her. Then the lady said, don't worry, I have the money. And just that I have the money is enough pain on his mind. Why should you have the money?
Yeah.
I mean, you should be asking me. You should be fully dependent on me, because why must you? Since when did you have the money? Now, because she's going to school, she's looking a little nice, and you are looking too nice. What's happening at school?
Insecurity.
Yes, and you are talking, and these days you talk.
When I talk, you talk back at me. Yeah.
What is happening? You are becoming too rude, and she's cooking a particular meal. And since when did we start cooking this? Is it so the school is doing all this?
Yes.
Listen, and that is where what we are talking about.
Yeah.
We are talking about the fact that you own your happiness in a marriage like this. And again, I ask that couples should sit and have the conversation. Some of the times people know what they want. People really do know what they want, but the other person do not even know what this person wants, because they have not communicated it to the person. And so some people have done everything. I have sat in many marital mediations. They have done everything, and still the other person is saying that I am not seeing what you are doing. You have to fool. I mean, there are even husbands who do not even like it when their wives are not asking them for money for anything, because they are not being made to look like the heads of the house. And so that is where it is. But again, I also look at where couples, men and women, have a difficulty doing things for themselves, and they are always looking at the other person. Doesn't it make the other person also tired?
Exactly.
Yes. So I so believe that in a marriage, as much as your individuality, though that individuality thing is a bit dicey. However, as a woman, as a man, as a couple, we still have our lives. What are we talking about? We still have our lives. Many years ago, I had just a sixth form paper, and I didn't want to do school again. One day, I don't know what jostled me out of my, but I went like, I don't know why wives think like this all the time though, but I went like, in the event where Osofu is no longer alive, how am I going to take care of these plenty children? I said, no, I need school. I said, no, I need a lot more of self-development. I said, no, I'm going to school. Somebody meets me at school. I'm doing school now, Edem. I'm doing school. Wow. I am graduating in November. And somebody was in my class said, so, Mommy, what do you want? I said, I don't know, but I want to be able to do too many things for myself. Listen, this is your life. At the end of the day, whoever you are living with, even with your children, they also have their lives. We come together, you have your happiness, I have my happiness. We bring it together, we have full happiness. Like you are talking about your friend or your boss. Problems no go finish. And so if you have problems
me alone,
will always,
I'm enough trouble for him.
Thank you. Problems will always be there. And that is why, let me go back to growing up again. I grew up a very timid girl. Because my environment, timidity is humility.
Part of growing up.
And then I come to the church, and again, timidity is a lot of humility. I had to learn to do a lot of things. I had to sometimes wake up in the middle of the night.
Weren't you called names?
Stand in front of my mirror with a little dress or nothing and begin to call my name and tell myself, Ajo Nyankwa, you are a beautiful girl. You can be anybody. Who says that ladies out there are more than you? I will keep self-validating myself. I do not need my husband to validate me. And when he does, it's a beautiful plus. It is nice to have the people who love you validate you. But what about if they will not? Must you die because somebody is not validating
Thank you.
And you haven't learned to validate yourself.
And so sometimes this catwalk, I can wear my long heels and I'll do my catwalk and my children. You see, that God is happy with it. Sometimes I intentionally, I don't know how I do it, I bring my mind and give it a seat, and I start telling myself, you can be a better version of yourself. There's too much at stake for you. The world is, you have not even started life. And so that is about it. What about when you are in a relationship where the other person would never see anything you do well? What is it? So let's also move to this point. You were talking about summer school. You cried that you have gone too far. Summer school is for Abroche Fopo. I'm talking about somebody who lives at where I live, somewhere in Koforidua, and can't even pay their children's fees. And so summer school cried on Tibida. But at the end of the day,
Extra classes.
Yes, at the end of the day, there's still something that has to do with happiness that you have. Like I realize, happiness is of God. It is from within you. It is because we have not looked at the strengths that we have as human beings. Because we are always looking at the weak things, But let's begin to push a bit of the strengths we have and see that we can be much better. I mean, sometimes most of us do not feel happy because we are not even grateful to God for life. It is morning, and because you don't have food already, can't even say thank you.
Please, you people are coming back next week. Of course, people are sending me messages like we're coming back.
So I am talking like this because I sit at a lot of mediations, and there are times when family people come in, when pastors come in, the only thing they would say is, "Sister, kopa okunucho." I have not heard a lot of pastors saying that, also for PG, you didn't do well. Say sorry to your wife.
Yep.
And sometimes we are saying that, why? What is this?
Why should it always be the woman?
Yes. Or you I mean, it's hard. And sometimes when we sit and we bring the issues on the table, you will notice that this person, man or woman, has so been caged in, she can't do anything. Sometimes when these people find the freeness, they sometimes also misbehave. But it's also because they have too been caged in. Yeah. Our happiness is first dependent on us, and also other people around us can help us become a lot more
happy. Right. Yes, PG.
Well, for me, I would...
just 2 minutes to wrap up first.
What I would say is that primarily, like it's been said here, everybody's responsible for their own happiness. Make sure that nothing stands in the way. But it starts from the very beginning. Before you get into any relationship, first discover yourself. I say this when it comes I say this when it comes to love. There are some people that are not super spiritual, and it's not for me to evangelize. So I tell them, I say that when it also comes to sex, discover yourself. Everything that you know gives you some form of happiness. Discover it.
That is very ambiguous. Sorry.
Yes, I know. So come to that place first. Now, once you know that X, Y, Z gives me happiness, let it be the touchlight or the guiding principle in selecting a life partner. So that you know that, okay, me and this person, we like football. Me and this person, we like to read. Me and this person, we like to chill. Me and this person, we like to do this. So that you have a lot of things that is common. A lot of things that bond you together, or bind you together, rather than things that divide you and things that you seem to have divergent opinion about. Then from there, you proceed. What I will tell the other person or the partner is that also try as much as you can to create enabling environment for your partner's happiness to thrive. As I live here, and then you know, I try to keep my space extremely clean. I live alone. And sometimes it can be boring. I don't like going out. Anybody who knows me, you hardly see me anywhere, unless in a mall or I'm going to work or something. I'm a home person. But I also understand that my wife also is a very minimalistic person. She doesn't like clutter. So there is always a balance. Sometimes she'll come home, what have you hanged in this house? And I'll be like, well, I was bored and I like the art. When I look at it, it gives me some fulfillment. And then we'll fight a little about it, and sometimes maybe I'll just reposition it. Or maybe I'll just keep quiet for one of her friends to come and say, oh, that's a beautiful art. And I say, I told you, it's beautiful. It's not as bad as you think. But what I do is that I try to make sure that in the pursuit of my own personal happiness, I don't annoy her and make her uncomfortable.
Great.
So let's find the balance.
Beautiful.
Pursue the things that make you happy, but at the same time, be considerate.
Of your partner.
Because it takes two to tango. There is no marriage if you want to always do the things that please you, constantly looking at yourself. Be considerate of the other person, but you can only be considerate if you actually even show somebody that you think you love so much to make these sacrifices for.
We are wrapping up now. Ariel, Mama T, and PG Sebastian, Nyamin Shamo, Bebre. Emily, hi. This is the channel manager for Okay, I have a birthday dedication quickly. I celebrate the life that God has given you and thank Him for the many blessings. I declare that excellence and greatness will always surround you. I pray that God will fill you with peace and happiness, and that divine peace and joy will follow you now and always. And above all, God bless you now and forever. Happy birthday, Mr. Knight-Tey, Afro, from your wife, Mrs. Dorcas Afro, and the girls, Shida and Minna. Yeah. So thank you very much. Enjoy the weekend and ensure that you are happy. Next week we will talk some more. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.